This episode of What the Tech is brought to you by Kaspersky Labs. Over 400 million users around the globe trust Kaspersky Labs to protect their banking, browsing, shopping, and socializing from dangerous online threats. Kaspersky Labs is providing a special offer, 50% off its premium software, Kaspersky Total Security. Go to Kaspersky.com and use the offer code WTT at checkout and get 50% off Kaspersky Total Security. And by an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price, because everyone deserves a great night's sleep. Get $50 off any mattress purchase by visiting Casper.com/Andrew and enter promo code Andrew at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
What's the tech?
Everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Thurrott. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. It looks like you're changing some stuff there. What is that? I was looking at that on that rack behind you, right? I see the phone. Yep. And what is the other thing? Is that the router?
Let me see what you're looking at here. There is a router, yeah. No, well, can you see the router?
I don't know. I see something next to the phone.
Behind the phone.
Yeah, behind the phone.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
It's weird. I don't.
I like it. What's behind me? Really. What's behind me? Boy, we have a lot to talk about today. First of all, I've had the worst day ever, as you could hear with my child screaming in the background.
I can't hear her.
We were talking about this, and I go to Paul for a lot of advice every now and then. I'm like, hey, you got 2 kids. What did you do? And Paul say, you know what? Let me ask Steph.
Yep.
But
People will ask me questions about home finances, about home improvements, parenting. It's always the same.
Let me ask Steph.
Talk to Steph.
Yeah. So yesterday I had like the best day with this kid, and it was like hanging out with like an adult. You know, we hung out, we went to lunch. She was having a full conversation. We're discussing, Hillary Clinton's health. Full on conversations. And today she's lost her mind. So while we're doing this, I'm actually counting down the minutes till my wife comes home and takes the baby away.
Yep.
They could go out. So it's been a very exhausting day. But we're gonna try our best here. But we do have a lot to talk about. Before we go into it, guys, I want to thank our sponsor today. We have a sponsor, and that's Kaspersky Lab. Get 50% off Kaspersky Labs premium software, Kaspersky Total Security. That's the wrong one. There you go. Kaspersky Total Security. Guys, being safe is a major necessity when you're online. Right now, I'll give you an example. Right before, I freaked out actually. I'm on my Mac, and I freaked out because I couldn't load my website. It said there was some sort of script that was trying to run, and I was really freaking out that I clicked on the wrong thing, much like I did at the beginning of this read. I may have clicked on the wrong thing, and it happens. People click on emails. You sometimes get an email from somebody that you know. If I get an email from Paul Thurrott and it says, hey Andrew, check out this picture of us, I might click on it.
Yep.
And then you know what happens after that. It's a disaster.
Yeah, even if it's real.
Even if it's real, it's a disaster. Over 400 million users around the globe enjoy Kaspersky Lab to protect their banking, their browsing, their shopping, and socializing. And they use this to protect them from dangerous online threats. Get 50% off its premium software, Kaspersky Total Security, by going to Kaspersky's website, that's Kaspersky.com, and using the code WhatTheTech, WTT at checkout, and you get the 50% off. I want to thank Kaspersky for supporting the show, for, of course, supporting the GFK network. My father-in-law really, really could have used this, and it could have saved me a lot of time, because he is one of the people that clicks on everything. No matter how many times you tell him, your Aunt Lucy is not sending you an email saying, hey, I need some money, I'm in jail. Your Aunt Lucy's 97 years old. She's not in jail. Your Aunt Lucy didn't go to the Philippines, and now she needs you to wire her $1,000 and for you to click on that link. It's a lot of these things that happen. So this is just one step of blocking some of those things from happening. By the way, you could also install this on multiple devices. That's the cool thing about this. It's not one device. It's multiple devices. Kaspersky.com. Use the code WTT at checkout and get 50% off. Kaspersky Total Security. I want to thank Kaspersky for supporting the show. So, Paul, I don't know if you're looking at the notes here, but I did a long-term test on cord cutting.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you about this. I was going to do this on one of my other shows, but since we've discussed, the disaster that is Verizon Fios and the disaster that is Time Warner when it comes to cable service, and this has been a long, I guess the last 4 years, we've really discussed cutting the cord and moving away from traditional cable. And we always say the same thing. Well, we're just getting closer. We're one step closer. We're one step closer. Well, I did a long-term test over the summer. And I didn't want to really discuss it because I didn't want to go into it before testing a lot of these other services. But I did come to some sort of conclusion here. Now, Paul, you have cable. Mm-hmm. Would you cut cable if, why do you have cable? Here's my first question.
Dude, I asked myself this question.
Because you're not a real heavy TV watcher.
Well, so we spend a lot of time in front of the TV. But as far as watching TV shows, I don't know. We do watch some TV. In fact, we watch some TV pretty regularly, and I think that's part of it. When my kids were younger, I actually used that as an excuse for the cable. That a lot of what
they watch is on cable.
Of the usage was from them, and it still sort of is. But my daughter now watches Netflix a lot more than regular TV.
Yeah, that's the case. I mean, that's really the case right now with everybody.
So we watch live sports, right? That's part of it.
Is that what keeps you? Because I know you watch sports. Does that keep you?
It's not the one thing, right? I mean, if that was the only thing, we would get the most basic of cable packages and just pay the minimum, right? But we don't. We have paid channels and stuff. I mean, we watch. We probably watch more TV series than I'm willing to admit publicly. I mean, we watch things like HBO's Game of Thrones, right?
Okay.
And other series on HBO. We watch things, we watched Breaking Bad back in the day. We watch Better Call Saul today. We watch the 2 Walking Dead TV series. My wife and I eat lunch together every day. We both happen to work from home. And so we watch a 30-minute show at lunch every day. That's not like a sitcom or something. It's like a reality show, like a
Housewives of New Jersey.
No.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
God,
not that kind. No, we would never watch that kind of thing. No, like a House Hunters International or which are garbage in their own right too. By the way, I mean they're probably no better. So I guess we do watch TV. I mean, so anyway, I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, your experience because your habits are going to be different than mine, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how you fill those gaps.
I watch very little TV, and the TV that I do watch. I watch on Hulu or Netflix. I rarely watch any live programming except for sports and pro wrestling. That's the only time I watch any kind of live television. I have the TV on in the background. I'll have a news channel on, but throughout the day. But I'm really not watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, and the thing that kind of put me over the edge here was, I got another hike in my cable service. So now my cable service is like $300. With my internet and cable and phone, right? Because you got to have the phone line.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is insane. I can't think of, if I were to lease a car for $300, I would at least drive the car every day. There are days that I don't watch any television. And the amount of television that I do watch, it's maybe a couple hours, and that's it. So I started experimenting with different services and different devices to see what overall would be the best type of package. And the one question and the one thing that people have said to me, because I've asked people questions, just everyday people.
Yeah.
Why don't you do this? Do you have Netflix? Yes. Do you have Hulu? Most people don't even have Hulu, first of all. A lot of people do not like Hulu. I absolutely love Hulu.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I understand not liking Hulu. In fact, right now, I'm actually still paying for it, but that's probably going to end soon. Although there's some other series coming to Hulu soon that I think I wanted to watch.
Well, I paid for, I do that at $11.99 with no commercials. So it's like Netflix.
Yeah.
So I have Hulu, I have Netflix. And the thing is, what if I want to watch something live, right? and that's still up in the air. How do you watch live content? Well,
Yeah.
there's two ways to do it right now.
Okay.
There's Sling TV. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple other ones, but Sling TV and PlayStation View.
Sling TV. I thought Sling TV required a cable box somewhere.
Not anymore.
No?
Nope.
Oh, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is their online network. So you have Sling TV and you have PlayStation View. So I used Sling TV for a good 3 weeks, and then I started using PlayStation View for a good 3 weeks. And the quality on Sling TV is it's kind of done. It's 1.5 megabits, so it's actually very low, but it's good enough. You know, if you're traveling, if you're on the go, I guess you benefit from this. The quality is not that high at all. So watching any kind of sports looks miserable. It looks terrible, actually. You don't really notice it with like network television shows, but you kind of do when you're watching any kind of live sports. But PlayStation View is double the bandwidth, up to 5 megabits for 720. So it actually looks much better with PlayStation View. It's a little bit pricier. It's about $44 rather than $20, but so it looks fine. It's all right. Then I tested out the devices. I have to tell you, I absolutely hate the Apple TV, the new one. It's miserable to operate. It freezes. It locks up. The interface is clunky. The remote itself just stops
is the
working.
most awful.
Oh, Siri doesn't work for me anymore.
Unbelievably bad. I can't even tell you how many times.
Paul, you told me this when I got it.
Swipe thing.
You told me this when I got it.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and I'm like, you know what? It's just Paul being Paul.
No.
No. It's
I
it's
don't
terrible.
talk to talk.
It's terrible.
I just ran into this last night. We had to use the Apple TV for some reason. Why do we? It doesn't matter. But you try to jump forward. Like, will you click the top to jump forward? I think in 10-second increments or whatever.
Well, I
want to murder this thing.
The trick is you got to click it, pause it, then you could go fast forward. You can't fast forward if you like swipe. If you swipe, it just jumps 10 seconds. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
There's another service someone just brought up, livego.tv. Livego.tv. So go.tv. Let's go there. So I do not like the Apple TV. I came to the conclusion that the best box is the Amazon Fire.
Except for one thing.
What?
Well, there's no best. I don't think there's any best box, right? Because none of them have everything.
Everybody's missing something. Yeah.
Yeah. The Amazon box does 4K, but not at 60 frames per second.
No, I don't think so.
The Roku does 4K at 60 frames.
The Amazon, the Apple TV does not do any kind of 4K.
Apple TV doesn't do 4K at all.
No.
Which is a huge problem. And the goofy thing is, since we've upgraded to a 4K TV, I have a lot of trouble with 1080p video now. Like, a lot of the cable stuff we watch looks like crap.
Does it really? I guess that has to do with the upscaling, right? Because they have to upscale it.
I guess so. It's some of it is clearly you watch a movie that was recorded in the 1990s that's on some pay TV channel, like an HBO type channel,
and they've upscaled it to 1080, and now you're.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it looks like garbage. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack.
No.
But Fire TV. So talk about Fire TV.
It has the most. It has the most of the features that people want.
Oh, Andrew, I have to interrupt again. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My Apple Watch is telling me I need to take a minute to breathe.
Oh, please go ahead. Hold on. Let's watch this.
Just like a birthing exercise.
Let's take a.
Yeah.
Well, they have.
It's the
courage.
first time I've seen this.
Do they have courage to tell you to breathe? Also, is that part of their courage?
Yes.
I really wanted Tim Cook to come out and just write the word courage on a dry eraser board, and then just start listing it and going to the audience, be like, "Hey, so tell us, why do we have courage? Why do we have courage?" And just make a list. I think breathing was one of them on that list.
Anyway, sorry.
Just to kind of sidetrack, the balls on this company that this company has to use the term courage, right? Talking about removing a headphone jack. Then at the end of their event, have a performance piece dedicated to the victims of the Orlando shooting.
Oh boy!
But they are the ones with the courage. Just saying.
Oh boy!
I'll get the Mac hate now after that.
Oh boy.
Yep. It just nobody else could do this except for them. So here's the other issue. So for 4K content, there's virtually nothing, right? It's very limited. You have Netflix.
It's hard to find too.
Very
on
limited.
Amazon.
And people get very upset when I say that. I'm saying in a legal manner to find 4K content for the mainstream, for the masses. It's still very limited.
It is.
What do you have on Netflix? I mean, a couple series on Netflix, maybe one or two on Hulu.
Well, I would say there's several series, maybe even a dozen or more series on Netflix. There's only a handful of movies though, and a lot of it's just demoware stuff. Like, look, it's a coral reef. I just got the Roku today, so I haven't had a chance to look through the other stuff. But they have a 4K demo channel. You can look at stuff. It's just this. But to your point, you're right. There's not a lot of 4K content.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, any kind of live streaming that you're going to get from any of these services that I listed with Sling or View, PlayStation View, it's going to be 720, so you're not even going near it. But I've determined that if for $44 a month, right? Let's say you go with the PlayStation View for $44 a month.
Okay.
And you get your Netflix and you get your Hulu on top of that.
I'm sorry to interrupt again. How do you get it to the TV? Stay at the View thing. Can you do that on Amazon?
No, it's an app.
It's an app.
Yep,
okay.
it's an app.
Yeah.
Just download the app.
Mm-hmm.
And so you sign up for this thing and you're getting it, and now you're paying $44 a month. They also have like a $80 plan if you want like the sports channel. So you're paying $80 at the end. Like I would end up paying the $80 because I want the ESPNs and the Fox Sports.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the national sports. So
at that point,
that only solves 50% of my problem, right? We watch a lot of baseball games, and I want to watch, and I don't mean baseball generally. I mean Boston Red Sox baseball. Like I watch it locally. Like that's what I want is the local guys. Football is going to be national. There's no local football coverage, and then basketball actually is local, right? Except for the big games on the weekends. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out how this could possibly work for me. But
the reality is, and this is what I figured out: if you want live content, right, and you're gonna end up paying something similar to cable at the end.
Yeah,
you're not. And I've been trying to figure this out. Like, where do I save money? You know where I'm gonna save money? This is what I'm doing right now. I'm calling the cable company and I'm canceling everything except for basic cable. That's it. And I get ESPN and I'm done. That's all I'm going to do. I don't need to get the 5,000 channels. You can do a very small a la carte that works in your favor.
Yeah.
If you don't want everything. Like, I don't need 5,000 channels. I just want the channels that I have, and that's it. And I want to pay $45 to $55 a month. I don't want to pay $180 a month because I got to have HBO and Stars and Cinemax and everything else. The problem is that the cable company is very good at convincing you when you call to cancel that it's only $10 more.
Oh, yeah.
So what you do, you go and you cancel, like, yeah, but for $10 more, you could get the sports package. For $10 more, you get ESPN. If you give me another $10, you get everything.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I can tell you that, and you'll remember this. I mean, we switched from Fios at some point because
it was too much.
The bill had escalated so much. It was like you said, it was over $200 a month or whatever. And again, I don't remember the exact numbers. So we switched to Comcast for a year. Comcast is, compared to Fios, it's kind of good, bad, in different ways. I mean, but it was cheaper, right? So I think we saved almost $100 a month, if I'm not mistaken. It was a crazy amount of money. After we were with Comcast for a year, Fios came calling again, and suddenly we could get back on Fios for less than we were on Comcast. And so, we had to kind of suffer through Comcast for a year, but we now pay a lot. We still pay a lot of money, of course, but it sort of occurs to me that this kind of thing that you're describing falls under the same heading or category as any other transition like this, where you're replacing some sort of traditional way of doing something with like a cloud service, essentially. And it's sort of like we've talked about manually managing your MP3 collection and all the metadata in that versus, paying $100 a year for Spotify or whatever it is and just saying, screw it, And I think that's what this is like. You kind of have to be willing to just let go.
That's exactly what it is.
Just
at
to
the
say,
end,
you know what?
You took it right out of my mouth. At the end of the day, the only way you're going to get ahead with this cord cutting thing that we're all trying to do, right? The only way you win out on this is by not getting 50,000 services, by not getting Hulu and Netflix, by not getting, the NFL and the just you have to give up somewhere. And it's going to be, if you're trying to replicate what you currently have with cable, you are never going to cut the cord fully financially. You're going to be paying cable prices at the end.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem here. And that's really what I discovered. It's not cheaper. It's only cheaper if you say, you know what? Do I really need live content? I really don't
Yeah.
need live stuff. So you know what?
You're
Hell
right.
with it. I'm going to get Hulu and I'm going to get Netflix and I'm done. 20 something bucks a month rather than $150 a month. I don't care if I ever watch anything live again.
Yeah.
But that's not how people are. People want their sports.
No, but you know what? That's another thing, though. So there are two things here. So one is a lot of news shows, which are shows on services, not shows on TV, are released all at once, right? So when the new season of Narcos came out recently, it appears all at one Netflix, all at once. You could sit and watch the whole, I think it was 10 episodes or whatever, all at once if you wanted to. Be a long day, but whatever. And that is clearly the future, period.
Yeah.
Of TV, of that kind of TV, like, fictional storytelling TV. That said, we live in this transitional era, rather. And, we have to deal with these shit. Like The Walking Dead is going to appear on AMC on October or whatever date it is, and it will run for X amount of weeks, and they take a little break over the winter, and then they come back for X number of weeks.
Yeah.
And God, does that make me crazy. Like having,
I got it.
I'd rather, it's funny, I was just about to say something that's not true. I almost said, I'd rather just wait until it was over and watch it at the end.
Yeah.
It is better to do that, and that's the transition we sort of have to make just as consumers. Because why do you have to see it right away?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference? It's always going to be new to you whenever you see it.
I think it's that instant. It's that we want everything. I mean, it's the same reason as why do people wait online for an iPhone? You know what I mean? It's like the same thing where you need to have it this very moment. If it's there, you need to see it. You can't wait to see it. I'm a big fan of doing that. I'm a big fan of, like, even if it's like my wife and I like the show Scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we'll do when the season starts, we won't watch it when the season begins. We'll watch it like halfway through.
Okay.
And by the time the season's ending, we've caught up.
Yeah.
So we're always a little behind. That's kind of how we do it.
It's so much better being able to watch it all at once, especially a lot of these really high quality shows that we have today. Game of Thrones is a good example. Walking Dead is a good example. They have a habit of going back to characters we haven't seen in quite a while sometimes. And then it's like, wait, who is this person? Like, what's going on here? I mean, when you have to watch it week to week over a long period of time and season to season that way, you kind of lose track of what's what. But if you can watch everything back to back, it almost works better that way. And a lot of the stuff we watch is our Netflix series that we really enjoy for that reason, or that's part of this.
I think you're right. We are in this transition period right now when it comes to content consumption and everything. So we're still trying to figure it out. But if you wanted my opinion on this, I would go with a Fire TV because now it has Alexa built in, so that's great. And you could train it to know certain things, and that's pretty cool. But I would go with a Fire TV because it's the most. I guess, what's funny? It's the most supported to this point. Like, they're constantly upgrading this thing. Amazon is really trying to push this service. And I don't know what the end result is going to be. Like, it's not this, like, skunkwork project that they have sitting there and they may kill it one day. Like, they really seem to be putting effort into this. I do see this as a better device than the Roku. Way better device than the Roku. I would have originally said the Apple TV is really good because it has all this access to games and stuff. But again, they came out swinging and then they just gave up. And they've done nothing. The release came out today, right? For their TV OS. They got released today.
I haven't even upgraded that. I couldn't care less.
It just has more Siri integration.
It's so depressing how bad it is. It really frustrates me.
The one thing, Paul, that it really has now is Siri integration, and guess what? I can't use it because the Siri doesn't work for me anymore. The remote stopped working.
My watch is vomiting now on my wrist because it wants me to exhale and inhale.
Just keep doing it. How does it know?
It's like, God, this must be really good for the battery.
Just jumping around.
I don't know if you can see that
So
thing.
that was oh my god, it is losing its mind.
But what you don't see or hear, obviously, is the little vibrations, like the haptic thing. It's like, brr,
Yeah.
brr.
So that was just my. I just wanted to touch on that really quickly because it's a question we get asked all the time. What do you recommend for a set-top box? What do you recommend for a set-top box?
Yeah.
And I've gone
Yeah.
back and forth on this over the years. And of course, this changes with more upgrades and new software or new apps. So a lot of it changes. But Roku's really fallen behind, in my opinion. They haven't really done much with it, other than the fact that it does 4K now, which is great. It does 4K 60.
I like the simplistic UI better than the thing on Amazon.
Do you?
And
Okay.
Amazon treats non-Amazon services as kind of second-class citizens. So it's like Amazon stuff all
It's
up top.
frontline.
and then-
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know, I can watch Amazon Prime Video on the Roku, which I do like. So, that said, I get, well, if I had to pick one, I guess I probably would pick the Roku. But the truth is, I can't just pick one. I've cut content in different places, and you know, the Apple TV is going to be there because we have a bunch of content on there. So, you know, I want to be able to watch it. So, and they don't have a Chromecast type device where you could just blast it from a device.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have an Xbox out there now, the Xbox One S. We'll see if that lasts, but we've been watching a couple of Blu-ray, you know, UHD videos. With that, we have the TV, Apple TV. We have the Roku 4K now, and the cable, and that's all four of the the HDMI's I have. I wish I had a fifth one. I would put a Chromecast on it because I think there's a Chromecast 4K coming soon too. By the way,
Yeah, I'm interested to see that.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it. So that was just my my pick here. So Paul, I had a quick question for you. And talking about emails, this is an email I've been getting, and you know we spoke about it really quickly. But why is there all of a sudden a lot of buzz around a Surface Book 2 with very little information that's out there, if any?
I don't know.
I feel like I missed something here. I feel
you
like,
didn't.
Okay.
So, no, there have been various. Look, when Microsoft for years has put out Surface Pro, Surface Pro 2, Surface Pro 3, Surface Pro 4, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to think maybe there'll be a next one, and maybe in that case it will be called Surface Pro 5. So last year Surface Book was new, so obviously they're going to make a Surface Book 2, right? I mean, it's been a big success. You know, you can invent stories. What chip set it was probably going to use based on what Intel has in the market now, how that's going to be different from this, you know, blah, blah, blah. Surface Book 2 isn't happening until next year. We've known for some time that Microsoft is delaying their major Surface hardware launches until the spring. So I don't know. There's been some goofy stuff. There's a story on my site from about 2 weeks ago where someone looked at a Surface Instagram post and said, "Oh, they're teasing Surface Book 2. Look, it's in a different color. You know, it's like black."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You know, no, it's just this. It's a photo from the original Surface Book launch. It's the exact photo. You know, it's nothing.
Do you think that's what it was? That kind of.
I think what happens is, you know, what we're talking about here is a minor version of what happens in kind of the Apple fan world every single day, which is just people getting excited about some next thing. You know, I saw a story a day or two ago that said something like, forget the iPhone 7, wait until you see what Apple has in store for you next year. And it's like, guys, seriously. It's funny. In some ways, this whole line of thinking or this type of thing plays into what you were talking with cord cutting and us just kind of getting off of this mentality. Like, you know, I'm going to get like a new iPhone, for example, but I sort of justify it because I have to do it for work and, you know, I want to write about it. I'm going to compare the camera and yada, yada, yada. But the reality is, like, I'm broken inside, right? I am on this weird treadmill with technology. I always want the next big thing. And I think a lot of people are into this stuff too. And so the source of the Surface Book 2 stuff is overexcitable young people who, you know, want to be first with, you know, some goofy information about some stupid Surface Book. I mean, the truth is none of these people can afford Surface Book. None of them actually bought a Surface Book. Microsoft handed these things out like chiclets to bloggers because no one can spend $2,500 on a laptop, and that was the only way to get coverage of it. And this is like the Surface Book in the scheme of things is like a high-end Mercedes SL convertible. It's aspirational. It's anyone who cares about cars at all would be interested in it. Almost no one can afford it. So, there's going to be a Surface Book 2. I'm sure it's going to be better than Surface Book 1. It's not happening today.
It's interesting how it's become this big thing now where I saw those leaked images. I mean, that was in August. That was about 3 weeks ago. But the last week, I mean, I don't know if someone wrote about something or what, but it's really picked up and it's become this huge thing where people are messaging me and wanting us to talk about it. And I keep forgetting to do the research as to. So I was looking at my emails. No. I was looking at my emails and I'm like, oh, okay, let me look into this, and I found nothing.
It's funny. I can't. Chris, it's not here. All right. So there's a headline I've made fun of several times because it's just stuck in my news feed, and now of course
will this beat the Mac?
No. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. It's like let's see if I can just find it. It's literally like a comparison of why Microsoft Surface Book 2 wins over MacBook Pro 2016. What are you talking about? None of these things exist. We suspect Apple will ship new MacBook Pros finally sometime later this year.
People are saying an October event.
It doesn't matter. It hasn't happened yet. This is a fantasy. I just don't. There's another one. Microsoft Surface Book 2 versus MacBook Pro 2016, a comparison of blah, 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 whatever.
You know what it is? That's a link bait thing for people to click
I don't
on.
like that kind of
clickbaiting to get the hit. And let me guess, is it like a gallery of images? So you got to click on every page to go next?
Who knows? I don't click on this stuff.
Oh my God!
I'm not going to learn anything from these idiots.
It drives me nuts. I was looking. There was an article: 101 best pizzerias in America. You know what these idiots did? And I'm the idiot that actually went to the website.
Okay.
I clicked on every single one of them on that gallery to find out what the number. I couldn't go to like number 5. I was on my phone, so I couldn't even pull it up. I'm clicking next, and I'm literally going down a list of 100 pizzerias.
Yep.
I'm like,
you're never going to believe what your favorite celebrity looks like now.
You'll never guess what Paul Thurrott did next. I'm talking about that Mac, about this rumored October event.
Yep.
How,
you should have just ended the sentence right there.
Okay.
How?
We're going based on, right? That whole OLED thing. Like, I know that there's like there's like some sort of schematic that's shown, and there's some parts that are shown, but this entire concept is going based on a rendering from like 3 years ago that somebody put on 9 to 5 Mac.
Sure.
And what's going to happen when it's not that and people are, see it? It's going to be the Apple Watch again. Do you remember those renders of that?
iPhone. Listen, like you, I live and die on iPhone rumors, right? And like you, I spent the entire year this year reading every iPhone 7. Oh, I'm sorry. iPhone 6 SE. Oh, no, it's iPhone 7. Rumor that was available to me. And the headphone jack was in, the headphone jack was out. Yeah. The headphone jack was in, the headphone jack was out. Geez, guys.
It doesn't look like it made any difference in sales. T-Mobile and Sprint are reporting the best sales ever for pre-orders.
Apple fans have proven themselves to be very loyal.
But do you think it's Apple fans, or do you think it's just everybody with an iPhone, which is majority of people walking around? Majority of people have an iPhone with a broken screen.
Do they? I mean,
yeah.
They're only 20% or 14% or whatever the numbers of phones sold. I mean,
I don't know.
I've got two things. I have more than two things, but two things I've got sitting on my desktop is this notion. I've written about this kind of thing in the past. Like the right tool for the job, right? And how a phone does or does not, meet these requirements. And there's arguments to be made for the iPhone and the headphone jack, where in both directions, but the other one is I don't have a title for it, but it's sort of the just don't buy it.
Just
Just
wait.
don't buy
Yeah.
it.
Just
Don't buy it.
You want change?
No, I mean,
Don't
like,
buy it. You want change? Don't
yeah,
buy
and
it.
just don't buy it. And I don't mean, and I'm not literally talking about the iPhone specifically, although this is what kind of triggered this. It's like, you just don't get it. I mean, for example, I got on the iPhone upgrade program last year. I don't know if you heard this little drama where, you're promised a new iPhone every year, and you have to stay in the system though. You have to keep
Yeah.
paying every.
Yeah.
And of course, the iPhone 7 comes around, and the people in the iPhone upgrade program aren't getting their phones first.
They're not.
No. In fact, I went through the system to try to see if I could reserve a phone, and none of the phones were available anywhere near me. I couldn't do it. And you can only do it at a physical store. You can't do it online. You have to go through the reservation system.
So
It's not going to happen anytime soon.
So hold on. So wait. So if you are part of that yearly upgrade,
Yep.
right? And now if I walk into the Apple store and I say on the day of the launch, I say,
Yep.
give me a new iPhone, please. They're going to say no.
Actually, I don't know. If that will work or not. But my understanding is you have to do it through the reservation system.
Oh, that's so stupid.
I could be wrong, but I guess the point though is, midnight occurs on whatever day last week, and everyone gets online to order their iPhones.
You couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
When that system finally became available, they emailed me or whatever. I went and looked, and at I have an Apple store I can walk to in Dedham, but there are 2 other Apple stores within 25-minute drive, and there were no phones available, or the only phones available were like the 128 gigabyte version of the rose gold iPhone
That you
7
do not
Plus,
want.
which
The
I do
one
not
that I
want.
want. That's my model.
So that sucks. But, I had this thought, if I were a normal consumer, if I didn't do what I do for a living, this might have been the time just to say, screw it. I'm not doing this. Just not doing it.
Yeah, but
Well, there's nothing wrong with my phone.
no, there's nothing wrong with it. And most
Nothing
people
wrong with it.
don't.
It takes great pictures.
You know what I learned from this whole iPhone thing has really been this iPhone 7 has really woken me up to how normal people use their phones.
Yeah.
They don't go and upgrade every 2 years. Even though you get that upgrade, most people don't.
Most people don't.
Most people do not get that upgrade in 2 years. When their phone finally kicks the
by the
bucket,
way,
that's when they go in and be like, oh, I have a free upgrade.
I hope that's true. I told you, I think last week about my friend John who bought a Samsung on 5.
Yeah. That was actually,
Right.
I got a lot of comments. People really, really enjoyed that to hear more.
Yeah, so neither
people
one of
doing
us
that.
had heard of this phone, right? So in other words, when he said this to me, I had to look it up. And when I told you about it, you had to look it up because no one's heard of this phone. It's just like it's the normal person phone,
One of the 5,000 Android phones that Samsung puts out every year.
Yes. And so you have to kind of salute people like that, though, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like this. It doesn't have to be an older person, but it makes more sense if it's an older person. My mother has said this to me, for example. I really feel like I'm missing out on this whole smartphone, tablet, Google thing. Like, I want to learn about this now. How should I get started with that? And my advice is always like, just don't. You've made it this far. You're fine.
Well,
Don't worry. All it is heartbreak.
Yeah.
It's like a never-ending cycle of things that don't work at all, or don't work properly, or don't work sometimes, or it's just frustration. It's like I can single out individual things. We always make fun of Skype, for example, but I'll do something like, we go to Europe in the summer on vacation. I bring a Miracast dongle, and I blow a TV show up from a computer on the screen, and it works fine. The next day we come back, and it never works again. It never works again. I don't know why. Same computer, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. And that's technology, right? It doesn't have to be Miracast sucks, but it's not just Miracast. It's everything. It's like, it's when you're out in the world and you press the button on the thing and it doesn't work, or the app crashes and won't start again, or the thing you thought you downloaded so you could listen to it offline isn't there and you don't know why. And it's just that over and over and over again. It's never ending problems.
I agree with you 100%.
It was a great thing for us to do for a living.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So smart.
Yeah, talking about doing things for our living. I want to talk about our next sponsor, and that's Casper. I want to thank Casper for supporting the show, of course, and supporting the GFK network. Casper's an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Guys, I've been talking about this for about 2 years now, and I always tell you the same story. I had bought a very, very expensive mattress because I blew out my back, and I went and I laid on this weird mattress in the store, and they gave me a number. They're like, well, your legs are at a 14 and your back is at a 96. This is the mattress that matches that, and spent a couple $1,000, and I got this mattress, and I hated every single day of it. And I didn't return it because I did not know better. When Casper came calling and said, hey, guys, we like you. We want to advertise. Let us send you a mattress. And they sent me a Casper mattress. And I have to tell you, I sleep on this thing every day. The best mattress I've owned. It's absolutely phenomenal. It is great. It's perfect. And here's the great thing. They offer free delivery and painless returns within a 100-day period, meaning you can get this mattress, sleep on it for 90-something days, and then you could decide, hey, I don't want this. And you send it right back. All the Casper mattresses are made in the U.S. Also, get a Casper mattress for $500 for a twin, $950 for a king-size mattress. And here's a great part. You save an additional $50 when you use our code Andrew at checkout. Or you go to Casper.com/Andrew. Terms and conditions do apply. For details, visit Casper.com/terms. These guys are great. I absolutely love them. Paul has a Casper mattress. I have a Casper mattress, and you should too. Casper.com/Andrew. Go there and get a Casper mattress. Paul.
Yes, sir.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Good.
Good to see you. Good seeing you
How
again.
are you?
Oh, good. It was wonderful. How's the kids? How's the family?
Good.
I think we have to sometimes step away. Like we talk about this stuff, and sometimes just step away and say, you know what? How do normal people use this stuff? And like right now, I'm charging, I'm charging this watch, right? That I'm going to try again, and I don't like it. I don't like this watch. I actually think it's out of all the smartwatches, I think this is not bad, but it's not great. And I don't know why anybody would use it. But you know what I do? I go and I use it anyway. And then I complain about it. Normal people don't think that way. Normal people don't. If you don't want a smartwatch, why would you buy it? Why would you get a smartwatch?
Right.
We're in this constant circle of testing new products and then disliking it and then using it. Like there are a lot of things I don't like about this Mac. Most people would say, oh, you know what? It's not for me.
Yep.
It's interesting, I think because we do this, we have a very different outlook on life with this stuff. Like your wife uses technology like a normal person.
Yeah, well, yeah, she is a normal person.
She is a normal person.
I don't know how she does it, but yeah.
I use technology in this weird hybrid way of doing it. Like I don't like using my phone to tweet and stuff. Only with I do that live tweeting thing. I can never do that on a phone. I need my laptop. I need to, type it out. It's a weird transition here for a lot of people.
Right.
It's a weird transition. So, Paul, anything going on with? I got this question this week too. Have they announced any kind of numbers for anniversary update? How many people have upgraded? Has there been any rumblings? Because I got asked that a lot this week.
Yeah. So no, not this week. But let me see if I can find this article. How do I do this? Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to even find this. Yeah, here we go. So back in late August, AdDuplex is a company that does mobile advertising, and they make apps and so forth. But they provide industry data on usage for Windows devices. They typically look at Windows phones, but every once in a while they'll look at Windows PCs as well. And what they do is they look at thousands of different devices out in the wild, and they look at the versions of the OS on each one, and they can draw these comparisons. So, for example, at the time that this happened, and this was, 3 weeks into the rollout, and now 3 weeks ago, so it's not completely accurate. 52, what's the number? 77% of Windows 10 PCs in the wild were running version 15.11, which is the version that came out last November. Only 16% were running 16.07, which is the anniversary update. That's a very slow rollout.
Very slow.
Today, Mary Jo Foley wrote a story saying that Microsoft has told her that, or maybe actually, I think she might have just seen this on a website. She did talk to Microsoft, but I guess based on some information on a website, that some people will not be seeing the anniversary update until November. So clearly they're metering the rollout, and they're doing it on purpose so that the problems that we've talked about, like the webcam gate issue, or the what was the other one that was big, the Kindle thing. When those things happen, the machines that have these devices are no longer going to get upgraded because Microsoft wants to fix the problem. And so it's coming out in a very measured, slow fashion on purpose, right? Now, if you're a power user, if you know what you're doing and you're not worried about it, and you haven't gotten it automatically by now, you might be able to speculate what the reason is. You might maybe have one of those webcams or whatever, but you can download the ISO and just install it. It's still free. Like, you don't lose anything by doing it, other than the fact that you might bork something. But I think most technical people could handle that no problem. So
yeah, the way that
you can get it if you need it
is download the tool, the Windows 10 Upgrade Assist.
Yeah.
Right, like that's how I've done the update. I had to click on it because I can remember.
I keep the ISOs around. So if I need to upgrade a PC to the latest, I just copy the ISO to the hard drive. You mount it just by double clicking on it. Setup runs, away you go, and then you delete the ISO when you're done.
Yeah, but it has been slow. And are they disappointed by this? Because it was so aggressive for 10, right? Like, it was like, no, go now. We got to upgrade. We got to upgrade.
No, but this is
Is there rumblings where, they would have liked to see 40% of Windows 10 users jump in?
So they've never publicly commented on that. I mean, and won't, right? I mean, I think from their perspective, slow and steady wins the race.
Is it? That's their perspective now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I wrote a story about this. I mean, in the sense that, because I had complained about the reliability of the Windows 10 anniversary update, and I was kind of nervous about how they tested this. It was the most heavily tested OS in the history of the company, in the history of all OSs, and it comes out, and all of a sudden, all these people are having problems. Webcams, Kindles, etc. How did they not know about this stuff? Ahead of time. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And I think there's still some questions about the processes that they have in place and how they didn't catch this kind of stuff. But I also think that the slow, measured rollout of the anniversary update suggests that they do kind of know what they're doing, right? That we know this because Terry Myerson talked about it about a year and a half ago, that they roll things out to the PCs they know are going to work first, obviously. They know that some power users are just going to manually force the upgrade every single time, obviously. They watch those very carefully to see what the success rates are. If they can get telemetry showing certain configurations always do work from those guys, that they'll be moved into the generalist, and that will benefit everyone out in the world, who is not, manually upgrading. And I think, I can only speculate, but I think that's what they're doing with the anniversary update. I mean, I don't think it matters to Microsoft too much. Like, it's better to have everyone on some version of Windows 10, right? Because they're really only going to have 2 or 3 supported versions at any time anyway. So it's okay. Apps can still get updated. The Patch Tuesday stuff actually just happened. So most people, unless you're on the Insider program, everyone running Windows 10 got an update.
So we touched on this a while back, but how many people are in the Insider program? It was millions, right?
Yeah, it's millions. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. I sort of say that, like, how many?
So would you say 10 million? Would you say?
No.
Okay. So maybe 5?
I don't know. I don't know.
I want you to throw a number. 45 million people. So, but millions of people are doing this.
There's no up-to-date number. I mean, it's over 1 million.
Okay. Over 1 million.
Yep.
Let's say half of those people are actively sending.
It was 5 million last year.
It was 5 million last year. Someone said 8 million currently. Okay, let's say 5 million. Let's say half of those people are actively submitting bug reports and things like that. So 2.5 million people. How do you miss something like? I mean, you missed it, right?
Well,
like, is it the?
Well, no. I mean, the thing is, I didn't miss it, but I didn't equate it to Windows 10, right? So, in other words, I experienced it. So that's me. I mean, I don't. Microsoft doesn't get a pass on that. So, look, I don't know how they describe it exactly officially, but Microsoft has all these channels of information coming and giving them feedback, right? They've got people calling support, literally looking for help with problems or going into a Microsoft store. They have their support forums online, like Microsoft Answers, where actual Microsoft engineers are engaged in threads and talking to people
Yeah.
about the problems they're having. They Twitter, Facebook, people like me who just, complain. And they have telemetry, which is probably the best source of information they
Yeah.
have at all. This is the anonymous data they get back. And that's the thing. I don't know how all this soup, gets made exactly, but it's fair to say that one of the things that happened with the anniversary update is that certain issues were raised. Like, for example, the webcam issue, that one was reported.
It
right?
was, and
It was.
their response was,
Well, but it wasn't escalated. In other words, it never became a tier A showstopper. And I think that's the part of the process that failed this time.
Yeah.
The Kindle thing, that never came up.
Yeah.
That never came up.
It's interesting. I mean,
it's a very rare thing. People don't
Yeah.
do that. They don't plug a Kindle into their computer that much. So,
but you would imagine out of the 2.5 million people, there are people that are plugging it in, and then there are some people that would equate it to what's going on, to there being a bug.
I think the reality is, I mean, I have no idea what
No,
percentage.
it's an interesting
of Windows
case study,
insiders
right? Because the whole thing is the beta programs have always been closed in the past. Previous version, they've always been a much smaller testing group.
It's evolved, yeah.
But now it's evolved into this wide open thing where anybody could do it. And things like, the most popular webcam in the world
Right.
not working properly it's not fixed. Or they are aware, but they don't.
I'm not going to excuse Microsoft. I went nuts on that one. That was, I think, between that and the Kindle thing, and there was some PowerShell issue as well. It's like I don't understand. Like you're asking the same question I'm asking. Like, how does this possibly happen? That said, I think one of the things we have to be careful about is we don't know really how many people were impacted. If you were to go to Microsoft today and say, talk to me about Windows 10 reliability, what's going on here? I can assure you that the answer you would get, because people get it again and again, and I'm sure it's true, is the Windows 10 anniversary update is the most reliable version of the system we have ever shipped. We have the data to prove it. We hear what you're complaining about, but this is not reflecting the real world experience. So what I mean by this is there are millions of these webcams out in the world. Absolutely true.
And how many of those users are actually actively using a beta of the operating system, and on top of that, using it with Skype, and noticing that their video was freezing.
But yeah, it happened to people. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, it did, yeah.
No, but the thing is, it probably didn't happen to some people. Like, in other words, the thing we don't know is that, because the people we never hear from are, well, this didn't happen to me. In fact, from my experience, that at some point it stopped happening to me. And I said to you, this is what I do. It's like my version of a voodoo hex. When Logitech pops up and says it's time to look for new software, I shut it down and I don't even do it. You, being an intelligent person who knows about how computers work, have said there's no way that could work.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything. I don't understand how that could possibly have made a difference.
Oh, I blamed
all
everything
I can say
else.
is I've never had this problem since I've done that.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
I tested it too, and I had inconsistent results.
Okay. I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it is extremely likely, if not certain, that not every single person who owns this webcam, who ran Windows 10 at any time in development, ever ran into this problem.
Yeah.
So there's more to this story. We don't know it. It's not fair to go out and say, well, there are 91 million people in the world who own this webcam, thus 91 million people were impacted by this, because that's not the case. And I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect that if Microsoft were ever to comment on this publicly, which I wish they would do, that what they would tell you is that this actually impacted a really small number of people.
Oh, listen, I think people are, listen, like, we blamed everything else, right? We said it's Skylake, it's USB, it's a bus issue, it's the camera. I've sent you a camera. to replace
to this
it.
day, my NUC has a thing stuck on the top of it that adds 2 USB ports.
Yeah, you
'Cause I
bought
was
that
hoping-
stupid thing.
You
So,
never know. Well, I'm glad to have the ports. Don't get me wrong.
but I
you
mean,
know,
but the answer was right in front of us because you would blow away everything, install Windows 10,
and
it
then
would
go back
work,
and install
then go
it,
back
yeah.
and install Anniversary,
Yeah.
and then it would stop working. And we never
Sure.
said, "Huh, it might be this." So, I think what a lot of people do, and even if they're running Anniversary, I think it was a small portion of them. Think of the small tank of people that you would have to get that have installed Anniversary, that have
Right.
this camera, that plug it in, use Skype, realize it's freezing, then say, "Oh, I'm not going to just switch to my regular webcam on my laptop," because most people they're on a laptop,
Sure.
they're doing something. Not switch to that laptop and get it to work. Instead, they're going to say, "I'm going to file a report with Microsoft because I think it's Windows." It again, most people don't think that way, even if you are running the beta of this. But it is a great example
But
of.
that's not. But by the way, I think you're right. But that doesn't excuse or explain Microsoft. I think that's the thing.
No, I thought their response was crappy, and we speak about this, but I think that's going to have to change the attitude when.
Yeah. So that part I don't know about. I mean, I do
But,
feel
or
like
do you think, or do you think, Paul, that the fact that it's opened up to a lot larger group of people, they're getting so much shit down the line, like so much nonsense is coming in where they're automatically on the defense at this point?
I think they're look. Well, clearly the system they have for figuring out what's important and what isn't is flawed in some way because they didn't catch some of this stuff. So I guess what I'm saying is, when this thing happened, there's no doubt that systems with this webcam stopped getting the update, right? So you can solve problems down the road just by doing that, right?
Yeah.
If they figure out that systems that have this webcam and some other condition are in fact the problem, they can open up the spigot for a group of people who they know aren't going to be impacted, and life kind of goes on, right? I mean, so that part of the system I think works. The question is, how did it happen? Like, how did the webcam, in other words, some person or probably group of people in Windows made a change to Windows, like a platform change.
Like a major
And it
change,
just kind of happens. Like, was there some discussion about this? Did the various parts of Microsoft, especially Skype, get to weigh in on this? Were they given a heads up that this was coming? And by the way, you might want to use a different, way of transmitting video, or maybe we could just fix Windows so that it actually works. Or I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't work at Microsoft.
I find it all fascinating.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how we came back to this webcam. It'll haunt us for the rest of our lives.
Well, I'm using it now. It works fine.
Yeah, you look beautiful, Paul.
You know.
Guys, go to our website, gfqnetwork.com. Go to Thurrott.com, Thurrott Premium, only $42 for the year. You got blogs, you got a bunch of other stuff there. A lot is going on Thurrott.com, guys. A lot of people are signing up, which is great. I love seeing people say that they signed up. Paul, anything coming up? Are you up to anything? I say that every week, and sometimes you forget, and sometimes you remember to tell me you got stuff happening.
What am I? I'm sorry. What am I supposed to
Anything going
remember?
on? Any signings at car dealerships? Can people come down to the Dedham Auto Mall and meet Paul Thurrott between the hours of 1 and 2 on a Sunday?
No, I mean, the next thing I know about is I'm going to Atlanta at the end of the month for Ignite. So
Cool.
we'll be in Atlanta. We're having some kind of actually, we're having a couple of meetups. Mary Jo and I are having a meetup, and then my parent company's having a separate meetup as well. So there'll
Very
be
nice.
opportunities then. Nothing on New York yet. I don't know. I'm sure I'll be there eventually.
Very, very nice. Maybe I'll take a trip down to Atlanta. You could just babysit me the entire time. It'll be wonderful.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a cool city. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been there
Have
in
you
a few
been?
years.
When's the last time you were down there?
It was for a tech ed. Whenever the last tech ed was, it was I don't know, 5 years ago ish.
Yeah.
Maybe I've been there a few times.
Very, very cool. Follow Paul on Twitter at Thurrott. You can follow me at Andrew Zarian. If you're watching this live, stay tuned. We're going to do a post show. I have a couple questions for Paul, actually. I like picking his brain.
Explain yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Explain yourself, Paul. If you stay tuned, we're going to do What the Talk right now. If you're listening to the podcast, go to patreon.com/whatthetech and sign up there and get access to it. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Bye-bye for now.